Yeah, let's get right into it. It's that time of the year, midterm, 2018 midterms were upon us, and yes, indeedy, things got a little rough for some people. There was a story in, I think it was Georgia, where the voting ballot, the electronic
Mm.
voting things came in, and they had them, and there was power in the building. But oh, would you look at that? Somebody forgot all the power cords in the warehouse. Oh, guess you guys can't vote. Sorry, I forgot those power cords. There was so many different things
Dare
with
that
that.
not happen on the north side of Georgia, just on the south. Coincidental. The world heavy black.
Oh, this
Yeah.
country, and I'm blown away every time, because every time leading up to the time when it's time to vote, you always have all these rules passed where, oh, you gotta make sure that your ID is up to date. You gotta have the perfect information for you to vote. And then, but in the black communities, y'all can't get like IDs over there anymore because we closed all those.
Well,
So
what's
you
up
need to
with
drive
that?
like 88 miles over to get a new ID over here. But make sure y'all do that, or we ain't gonna count your vote.
Ain't that
And
something? Like, as an adult, which you have to be 18 or over to vote. I almost wish it was 21, like it would be drinking and everything else. But honestly, it doesn't matter, because if you're old enough to be shipped off to go fight first, you should be able to make a decision on it. But it is messed up knowing that most adults have to work, had to have some kind of schedule of some sort, cannot be going on this cat and mouse trip just in order to do one simple thing that honestly should be able to be done right from our phone. If our phones are as part of us as they are, there's no reason why we can't do that from a freaking app.
there is absolutely no reason in this technologically advanced world that we live in nowadays why you shouldn't be able to vote online. Now, people are like, "Oh, well, that could get hacked. Everything could get hacked.
Right.
There's no
And
getting
we've
around
seen it.
that.
And we've seen everything get hacked.
We've seen it. So it would only make sense if you could do it online. It would only make sense. It would make all of this a whole lot simpler. Now, what me and Skips did was, when the time came around, when it was got ready to be time to vote, me and Skips both hopped on Service Arizona, made sure that we were registered, made sure everything was up to date, everything was perfect. Then we set up to get the early ballots. We had the early ballots mailed out to us. Then the weekend that we got them, me and Skips sat down and we kind of, I guess you could say, debated and talked for like 45 minutes on
Word?
the whole thing. Yeah, we sat down at the table for like an hour going
Y'all
over everything.
research with each of the things and check out
Research each proposition. This is your take on it. This is my take on it. There's a couple things we didn't vote the same on, which is perfectly fine. Or we had an adult conversation sitting at the table about what was going on with the different propositions. We looked them up. This is my opinion. This is my opinion, or whatever. She voted her way. I voted my way. And then we mailed them bitches out and got those in early, for that simple fact of, yeah, when you're a working adult, it's kind of hard to, like, and legally, your job is supposed to let you be able to have enough time to go.
it's off the clock, it ain't paid for, but
Yeah.
still.
So they'll give you the time to where, like, okay, legally I can't make you work all day so you can go vote. But at the end of the day, I still have like a ton of work to do. So I still can't miss time from work, because it's just going to put me behind of what I need to do. So yeah,
Right.
so we got all the early voting, we got all done out of the way. And the thing that's crazy is that we're kind of a week out. We had a whole bunch of historic firsts. And then we also had a bunch of stuff that is still pending. But I guess we can take this time real quick to talk about some of these historic firsts, because 2018 kind of shocked the world. Women
I think
got
they
it
run
done,
this mother.
Pablo. Women run the world, man. Beyonce be putting these records out. These
She
women
called
been
it out.
listening to it. They are taking over, and I'm here for it. I'm here
Well,
for
see,
it. I'm not
in
mad.
that very same essence, though, in that very same message, shouts out to the wives out there. Because of lemonade, you got to let your man cheat, do his thing, and know that you make the rules. But
I know they
No.
like to cherry pick what part of them
Yeah,
Beyonce records they like. They get that women empowerment, but y'all acting like she didn't say, hey, Jay-Z was skeeting over there, and I took him back. Y'all,
you like
hey,
some badass little kids.
it's
Selective
just,
hearing.
I know, it's just like, with the Christians with picking the pieces of the Bible. Like, I like this part of the Bible, but I'm like, no, we gotta take it all. We gotta take it all.
Yeah.
No, you gotta take the good with the bad.
All
We gotta
them
take
wives.
all them. But in the 2018 midterm elections, just to run off a couple of the names, you had Ayanna Pressley from Massachusetts, first Black woman in Congress.
Woo, woo. We also had another first Black woman in Senate. We'll get to that one. Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah,
Marsha Blackburn. She's the first elected to the Senate from Tennessee, and I think that's such a big deal, man. Like, how was it taking this long? It just took a couple rapes in Hollywood to get everyone razzled up. God bless it. See,
good old America. You had Jared Polis, who was the first openly gay elected governor. Shout
yes.
out. Yeah,
Johanna Hayes, Connecticut's first Black woman in Congress. Yo, we get a lot of ladies, a lot of Black ladies. And Medea's dying next year. I don't know what to think of all this.
Then you had Deb Haaland and Cerise Davids, who were both the two first ever Native American women in Congress.
How has that taken this long? This is their land.
Their land. And y'all just now getting into Congress, man.
Ooh, you had to wait for the Black women to get up there. Like, they was really holding y'all back.
Man, that is wild.
Veronica Escobar and Sylvia Garcia, again, from Texas, first Latinas. Yo, and we overpopulating this beat. And if we finally got there,
and Texas is old Mexico. So how is y'all just now getting?
It really is. Still fighting over the
This one was shocking to me and dope. Rashida Tlaib and Ayan Omar, America's first Muslim women in Congress. Yo, shouts out to them. They let some Muslims into Congress too. I know some men with their MAGA hats are flipping out right now. ISIS is in Congress. Unacceptable.
Yo, and then this is kind of got me a little bit excited, besides her being a little bit of a baddie. Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, maybe there's a couple other last names in there. Again, one of the youngest women ever, happened to be a Latina. So again, we sticking them in there, fistful.
29, and she's in Congress. 29. That is crazy. At 29, I still didn't put my shit together.
Yo, and how much you want to bet her vagina somewhere on the cloud?
Unfortunately, that's a strong possibility with the day and age that we live in. There's a strong possibility that it is on that cloud somewhere. So, oh wait, dang, I turned it off, and there's still more. I thought that was the last one. Hold on, let's come back. There's a lot of firsts.
First female from South Dakota, and Then
you had Cindy Atzney and Abby Faulkner, whatever, Iowa's first women in the U.S. House.
Yo, Iowa, first only known to me as the breeding ground for the heavy metal band Slipknot. Now I can also say that the women, they're one of the first houses to hold women. And I guess one of the last ones that I see here is Miss Janet Mills. And again, she's the first governor from Maine. So what's even funnier about this is that we have both a good mix of red and blue women that are up there. So now I guess it's going to really depend upon, especially Iowa. I was notorious for being the one swing party state, and then with a lot of states actually converting from Republican to Democratic houses, like I feel and see, this is the part that kind of interests me out, going back to the teeter-totter of where we went from Obama presidency to stirring up all the whites to then, where we're going now. If you even want to say before then, because remember, we're throwing shoes at Bush's dumb head, you know what I'm saying, even before then. So I'm wondering, and then Clinton maybe being the most known for being the adulterer. Like, I wonder where did the pendulum swing, unless it's just been constantly doing this? Because I as far as I can go back, because I can't go back to Bush Senior, but from President, again, being the the coxman, to then getting retard George, to then getting the first black guy, to then us getting the most whitest of the whites to try to counterbalance. Like, where is this swinging to where we could predict the next thing?
I think what we're seeing is Trump in office, I genuinely think, has woken America up. And that's the whole thing, where people who, when they think that the issue with Trump is that he's a Republican, no, that's not it. Democrats win, Republicans win. Like, there are different opinions or whatever. Trump in office is dangerous. Right. That's what the problem is that the rhetoric and what he normalizes is dangerous. So this is no longer a left versus right, red versus blue thing. This is no, there's danger now. And as much as people want to act like it's not the case, people are dying as a result of some of the stuff Trump's saying. Going back to what was it, Heather Heidley, the woman that got ran over at that nationalist rally, that was a direct result of Trump. You could talk all you want to about Obama and his tan suit and how horrible of a fake Christian, Muslim, Kenyan, Hawaiian, whatever y'all birther, all that stuff, whatever. There was nothing that Obama there. So, and this is taking war out of the equation, or whatever. That's a whole nother thing with U.S. politics. But there was no speeches where Obama had a speech and then there was a rally in America about that speech and then people died as a result. No,
there was too much
words of Trump. People are dying because of words that Trump is saying. And I think that's what it is for the people have woken up. And people are like, no, this has gotten out of hand. We need to take this country back. All this, make America great again, get our country back. No, that y'all going back to a bad time. We need to progress and take it back and take it to where it needs to be, where everyone is equally represented. Because what Trump is literally doing, they're trying to move it back to when it was only white people in power, and
like bring segregation back again or something. And that's one thing I think is pretty much what he's saying. Because what's funny, when Obama was president, I remember the job I worked, I was slanging tickets. I was in the most diverse crowd I'd ever probably been in, other than the Fredericks days. And I remember it was a mixed brother that was sitting next to me. He's Arizona's apparently 5th best beatboxer, which is kind of sad to go all the way to 5th. Or maybe I'm thinking that was one of his catch slogans because his name was 5th Element. No, it was the 2nd best apparently. Either which way.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but go ahead.
Did you? All right, well, yeah, God bless him. I remember seeing him cry, you know what I'm saying, when Obama was doing his little walk and he got out the car and he was waving, and you know what I'm saying, he was all freaked out. They're gonna snipe him from miles away. That would have happened this election. Like the slip-ups that we have, that would have happened. People would have really have given no Fs, and they probably would have. But anyways, I'm going back to when Obama was in presidency. No matter how you sat on the chart of where he stood, he brought a lot of pride in the essence to where people were now, niggas was buying suits, you know what I'm saying, got Jay-Z to switch up his gear game, and people were okay with being, you know what I'm saying, professional. And again it was just a matter of being classier.
And then even like on a broader scale, our foreign relations increase, like people other countries liked Obama, and as a result liked America.
The fact that he was black and that he was, let's say, rumored to be Muslim, because I mean, there's no doubt there's pictures of him praying when he was younger, like that only helped us, because they're like, okay, it's not just some douchey white guy, no offense to douches or to white guys, but you know, that's the head of the house. We're seeing that, we look a bit broad. No?
Yeah. And then the whole thing too, with just him being out there, like he had this class, I guess that's the best way to put it. He had this class about him, and there was and even after he got out of office and when Trump started winning, there was a bunch of times when there was like Trump supporters that were at his rally, they was yelling Trump or whatever, and people started booing him, and then he was like, no, stop, like let him have his peace. Like, we're in America, he could disagree with me, that's perfectly fine, and if y'all disagree with him, get out and vote. That's all you got to do. And so that's the beauty of it, is how he was so eloquent when it came to things like that. But with Trump, oh no, you got to agree with me and tell me that I'm the greatest thing ever. If you don't, like, you can't come to my ego is so fragile. You need to tell me that I'm the greatest thing, because I won't debate with anything else. And then he's been calling reporters stupid. That other woman interviewed him, asked him something about I forgot what it was or whatever, but he was like, that's a stupid question. That's stupid.
That's a stupid question coming from an ugly bitch. Like, you'll get away with it.
When it happened, I was like, we are just months away from him saying the N-word. Trump is definitely going to say nigga.
And how mad some point.
What?
How mad do you think people are going to be? Like, I feel like it might be a headline, but that's about it.
Happen? So the left, of course, we're gonna get upset because, oh man, look at this president or whatever, this white man just said the N-word. But then you know what the right's gonna say? Well, let's talk about hip hop. Why do those hip hoppers?
That's the first thing.
Trump would never say the N-word if it wasn't for those hip hoppers. That's exactly what's gonna happen. So that's why I can't wait for the moment. I'm counting down the days for when Trump finally says the N-word. So then I can see this left versus right, and I can't wait till hip hop gets attacked because Trump says it's coming.
Oh, yeah. They're going to dig up Triple X Extension out the grave and be like, yo, this man would beat his woman. And they wanted to shank her vagina with a knife. No, so again, and then so you look at the hard swing from where he was, and then just how really nitty gritty, and I think how openly, not even racist, but how open we can just be about not giving any Fs. Like, I feel like that just opened the floodgate for people. And there is no coming back from it because, but then I see little patches though, and again, it's kind of like the art imitates life, life imitating art kind of thing, to where it happens in every area. Again, with there being such strong sexual cases against women, and then Me Too movements being, I mean, I don't know how strong it is now, but now people, they won't hesitate to just chop that off. I don't know if I told you this, but I was working for the government. Did I tell you that I got let go from the government?
The government? How you gonna get let go from the government? They supposed to get everybody jobs.
They did. And I thought I fit a specific urban demographic that they just had to fill. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't diverse enough. Did I tell you what I did? Or supposedly I did. And so I'm gonna tell you what supposedly happened. You tell me whether or not you believe it. Unfortunately, people haven't been on my side that often. I will say that out loud. But I was quoted saying, "Rock it like a prosti." Do you know what a prosti is? Or could you assume what a prosti is? A prosti apparently is Spanish slang for a prostitute. So apparently I told a bitch, rock that shit like a prostitute. As a word of encouragement. Now, having given that last part, can you foresee me saying that to a coworker?
I don't know. Papo might say something like that. I don't know. The devil on your shoulder.
What's mad crazy is that even me myself, I thought I could, I thought that before for sure. So could I have been too high at work that I just said it? You know what I'm saying? It very well be possible, but regardless of whether or not that would have been to someone that I was friendly with that was doing some hoish activity, and I was just speaking to her on her wholeness, again, not putting it out there, but you know, things are quite evident. And I'm thinking to myself, even if I did say that, which again, unfortunately seems very, very possible, and I question myself and my own innocence, I also think to myself though, like that very statement of someone else, like I wasn't even slut shaming, yet again, slut support apparently is also not an encouraged endeavor, which I now understand, you know, 30-something years in the game, but
oh God.
Ridiculous. So again, it just goes to show like people are dead serious. Like now, like I don't, and I think they talked about this in the JRE, where he says that people don't even want to hire, you know what I'm saying, pretty looking women because they don't want to misconstrue or, you know, have to catch heat for, you know what I'm saying, having to hire someone again of the opposite sex, someone who again is easy in the eyes. And now sometimes, depending on the company, that can even outweigh someone having even more work experience or, you know, clout when it comes to filling whatever role, because of stuff like this. And I wouldn't argue that, because that's just, it becomes too trippy. But
see, and I think it's an easy cop out though, because like the whole thing, like with the Trump grabbing by the pussy, just don't grab him by the pussy. That's all you got to do. Like, it's that simple. Like, that's all you have to do. Cause that's the whole thing with there was that woman, the mother who had the complaint. She posted something or whatever about how with the Me Too movement and how her son has to go on these double and triple dates now because women are just accusing everyone of sexual assault and so on and so forth, whatever. And no, it's just, don't act that way. And then people you won't get accused of, knock on wood, I've never been accused of anything like sexual assault or anything like that because I haven't done any of that. Like, and so it's just the whole thing. Just treat people like you would want to be treated, or treat women the way you would want people to treat your daughter. And then like this whole thing, like, oh well, I can't hire a pretty woman because what if I'm gazing to her vagina lips and she catches me and then oh my god, I lose my job. It's just don't gaze to her vagina lips. Like, treat her like a respectable person. That's all you gotta do. It's not that difficult, America. Not that difficult.
It actually tripped me out. There was a younger lady at the new gig that I'm at. I always feel like I'm always at a new gig, and she's married, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, I'm married too, and whatever. Actually, that we didn't introduce things like that, but whatever, coming up in conversation, right? And like, I remember, like, I had like this feeling of just relief that she was like, man, this nigga's not trying to sniff up my snatch. Like, he's asking me normal questions. I don't have to have sexual innuendo. And I felt like that almost like there was just like a little click of trust that just went like, oh, well, and then just going right forward. Because again, feeling like this, it's like almost like being decent is a rarity. And
yeah, and it goes back to that famous Chris Rock joke about anytime a man is being nice to you, he's trying to give you some dick. Like, oh, hey, how you doing today? How about some dick? Let me hold this door open for you. How about some dick? Like, and so that is something that we said about, you know, things coming close to home. That's something that men need to realize. When you're a woman, that's what you go through. Of all day, every day, someone is trying to throw the dick at you. When you're walking down the street, somebody's trying to grab you to take the dick from, or try to, you know, give the dick to you. I remember I had a conversation with Skips one day, and she was, because it came up someone was talking about, you know, being a woman and getting in the car and looking into your back seat to make sure there's nobody in there. And I had asked Skips if she does that. She was like, yeah, she's like, when I get in the car, I look in the back seat to make sure ain't nobody in there. I was like, that has never crossed my mind. When I get in my car, I just get in my car and start it. And if we're so happen to be somebody in the back seat, well, I guess we're about to rumble, something about to go down. But it's these certain things that women go through and they have to experience that's completely regular to them that the rest of us don't experience. And that's the reason why something like a Me Too movement is important. Now, on the other side of it, it's the rubber band effect, where some of it may be getting too far, where like you have Harvey Weinstein, who, for instance, was using his power to sexually assault women. So you have him. Then you have Louis C.K., who was whipping his thing out in front of people, jerking off. Both of those are bad things, but they're bad things on different scales.
Where?
So, but we're in a situation now where...
Did you hear about Sarah Silverman giving the thumbs up to him doing that one?
And some people got upset about it, and that's her prerogative. If she was like, yeah, I don't care, like, that's cool.
Sometimes
but
okay. All right.
But the whole point of it is just that with the Me Too movement, it's the rubber band thing of where I think this is just how society works, where you have some people who have like no voice at all, and they go from having no voice to finally people are listening. And so like a whole bunch of stuff starts coming out, and then things start getting too crazy, and then eventually it settles. And so we're at the moment, I think we're starting to get there now, where things are kind of starting to settle. So there were some instances of the Me Too movement where I was like, okay, that's a little drastic. Like Ozzy, that dude,
comedian.
He had the whole thing where him and the girl was hanging out, and then
that really didn't need to come out, though. That really did not need to come out.
So that's my point. That's my point, is that he got lumped into the Me Too thing, and it was like, that's a stretch right there.
But that's
just a direct result of the movement finally has a voice, so everyone's talking now. But eventually things will settle down, and then the people who need to get attacked will finally start getting attacked. But yeah, it's a rubber band movement. That's what's going to happen.
Now, I was curious though, and again, and I know this just digs guys in the grave sometimes having to kind of really voice out their opinions on this stuff, but I feel like when things aren't discussed of this nature, there's no reference points, there's no, and I definitely want to get on about other changes in the election stuff. And I almost thought about doing that when you mentioned about the rubber band effect, because sometimes it has its good and its bad, you know, it's good and it's bad, but the Azar thing really quickly. Did you not think that there is an expectancy in culture, or I don't know if there's a generational point to this, but just like if you go to a bar, obviously just because you buy a chick a drink doesn't mean she's gonna have to suck your dick. But if you guys are going home, going to somebody's house, let's say for a nightcap, let's say to continue, does that not though? Do you not feel like there's some kind of insinuation, or not to say expectancy that you have to, but that they might be interested in you know, in Z, you know,
Yeah, and
like
I think that's what the issue that we run into in the world. Oh wait. Oh, no, I think that's the issue that we run into in the world is people don't communicate, and we live a lot off of assumptions. And so that is the thing of like, if I'm a guy and I go out on a date and, you know, me and this chick is, you know, chilling or wherever at a bar or whatever. And then we're like, hey, let's go back to my place or whatever. And then we chilling at my place or whatever. And then things are getting heated. Like, oh, snap. Hey, maybe I might be, you know, about to get some or whatever. So I'm going to move in or whatever. And so it's one of those things where that's where you make the assumption that that's the direction that this is going. But then the other person the woman in that case, wherever, may be like, oh, no, I'm just trying to hang out and I'm trying to take it that direction. And I think that's the reason why we need to communicate, because people see things differently. Because that's the other thing that I remember there was a meme, somebody cracked a joke. This chick had tweeted, and she was like, if I tell a nigga to massage my ass and he don't try to hit or whatever, you know, I'm gonna call him a pussy or something like that. And this dude responded, no, we live in the age of consent. Like, I'm not just gonna assume some stuff. Like, so it's, again, we need to communicate, because there's some chicks or whatever, oh, well, if I do this, you should just know that means to take the dick out and smack me upside the head with it. But then like, so that's the reason why we need to communicate, because some women are taking it this way, some women are taking that way, and then we can't assume. Like, you just gotta, hey, where are we going from here? Where are we going with this?
See, but in that very essence, listen to how ridiculous it sounds. Girl plops at fat ass onto throbbing dick. You go to deep pants. I never said it was okay. I was just trying to let you feel. Like, is that not like?
See, and then I also think that's a I don't know, minority case. I think that's some women are doing that, and I think the problem is when we then act like, oh, this is what all the women are doing. All the women are just gonna take the penis out and they're gonna put it in their face and then be like, oh my god, how dare you put this penis? Like, so it's like that's a rare case of where a chick would tease that far and then be like, oh, I'm not. So, and that's the reason why, like I was saying, with the Me Too movement, the parts of it that got out of control was Ozzy's situation. That wasn't a big deal. Now, Harvey Weinstein, that was a big deal, because he's using his power like, oh, you want to get this role? Come suck this dick.
Yo, you want a green light, Frida? Come suck this dick.
Like, Trump, when he made that whole comment about, oh, yeah, being rich, you know, I grab women by the vagina and I don't care if they're, you know, married or whatever, I move in on them like a bitch or whatever. That's abuse of power. Like, those are problems. And so that's the reason why you have certain things. And I think the same thing could even be said, you know, to turn into to the racial side of it. When Black people start to get their voices, there have been some instances where there's been scenarios where, like, even during the Black Lives Movement, when that started popping off, and then there was all these cop shootings, there was a handful of cases where it was like, in my opinion, where it was like that person did go too far. Now, the cop did need to shoot and kill him, but that person did go too far. So we don't need to lump this in with everyone else of, oh, this innocent person just got, like, there was a one woman who she was in what?
I say it dilutes the water, you know, and
it unfortunately confuses the people who don't give a fuck about the scenario at all to begin with. So like there's the so good example. So Sandra Bland, when people were like, oh, well, you know, she was being mean back or whatever, and so
is the one that supposedly hung herself in the jail?
Yeah. Now, people were like, oh, well, yeah, of course that cop was acting that way because she was getting all belligerent and doing all this. But then, as my story I just told earlier, I was sitting in a room with some woman who did the same exact thing with the cop, got rough with him or whatever, didn't get in trouble. Sandra Bland died as a result or whatever. So that's a whole different thing or whatever. There was one woman, I can't remember her name, but she was barricaded in her house with a shotgun. And when the cops came in, they shot and killed her. Now, I still don't like seeing cops shooting and killing people if they didn't get shot at, but that was a scenario where I was like, she has a shotgun, and I could understand the terror there. But then you have the other flip side of it. You have the Philando Castile, the dude who was a law-abiding citizen with a gun on him, who's sitting in the passenger seat. The cops asked the question that they always ask: "Is there any guns or any weapons or drugs on you?" He was like, "Hey, I do have a weapon. I have a license for it," and they shot and killed him. So he did the right thing. And so again, you can't lump everything in, because then that's when the story gets diluted, and the people that unfortunately are trying to convince that, hey, this is wrong, they're going to be like, oh, well, what about that one instance over there?
Caveats, man.
It's just like when I have a conversation with somebody about hip hop, and then I'm like, oh, hip hop is poetry and hip hop is this. And they're like, well, what about this Yin Gang Twin song? Well, I'm not talking about that. Like, I can't cover everything. Like, there's bad with everything.
Just to nitpick,
Yes.
cherry pick.
Yes.
And you're right. I mean, that's why I'm. But I still feel, and obviously it does show that we are at least growing, whether it's freaking centimeter by centimeter, like we are figuring it out. Sometimes I do feel like we take too hard of swings, and don't get me wrong, I don't know any of these ladies who ran for stuff, who they opposed and who they're fighting against. I would hope that it was against other ladies that were hopefully just as qualified.
I hope it was against white men. That's what I hope. I hope it was a whole bunch of white men chairs. That's what I'm hoping.
Only in the essence, because you just figure people are going to be on whoever's dick, depending on who the party is. Kind of to bring it back home, something McSally and something Kristen Cinema, they were opposing parties out here, and we're still trying to figure out who the hell won this, which is crazy that we're damn near a week past election time, and we're still trying to freaking do counts, which lets you know they're really willing and dealing to try to see who's going to, I don't know how things are determined, but the sheer fact that, the reason I mentioned them is because McSally, who's our Republican Party, she was so quick to back up Jeff Kavanaugh, which, if you remember, in this before, he was the Justice of the Peace, like the highest the Justice of the Peace can go, who was supposedly always drunk in the frat house and saying pulling trains on hose. They didn't call it pulling a train, but the way that they explain things, it's a damn train. You know what I'm saying? It happens, whether in the hood or in fraternities. Like, there's no clear-cut way that, unfortunately, that happens. There's always a willing party that wouldn't mind, 8 different cocks in there. And again, no slut shaming here. God bless them, because someone got to do it. Because if not, they're gonna just rape an innocent person from the street. Like, it's a good thing that there's someone there to give a sacrifice, like the Hummingbird. What was that show? Not that movie with Jennifer Lawrence. It was based on a book. I have no idea. Hunger Games. Someone has to offer themselves in tribute. Anyways, so the sheer fact that, whatever, I'm getting too deep into that one, but I believe those allegations, and whether or not they're true, again, it's based on God and whatever people that can attest to it, because the women that did attest to it supposedly then retracted their statement because, money really talks. But the sheer fact that as a woman, she was so without a question, to back him, when it came to whatever backing the Republicans had to give each other, I was like, not only do you not give a shit as a woman, and supposedly she was even down with laxing laws with us for sexual traffickers. And unfortunately, Arizona is one of the bigger ones. Or anytime you see a trap stock, know that, somehow it's being passed off there. But again, I say all that to say, I hope that these women aren't just bandwagoners that are there to support whatever hierarchy there is of that party in that state. And
and I think one of the issues, and that's just with politics to begin with, whether male, female, minority, white, unfortunately, you will run into a lot of politicians who it is just money. So, I mean, that's to be determined. We'll see what actually happens. But I think that's the political system in general. And that's the reason why we as a country need to get money out of politics. That's the best way to determine if someone is actually doing the things that they're supposed to be doing and for the right reasons, is if you get money out of politics. As long as you're able to lobby and pay politicians off to do your bidding, you're always going to run into that scenario where you're going to have some people where it's like, what are they really here for? So, so that's to be determined. We'll find out, with the actions that are taken, but
we are growing from that, most definitely.
If you didn't like this podcast, it's probably because you're racist.
Yeah.
Fuck your feelings, though.
Yeah. What's up, man? You hear me?